Hello, everyone. We're running 5 minutes early, but I think that's a good thing. Yes, thank you so much. My name is Jacobus van Heerden. I am the founder and CEO of TruOptim Solutions, based in the United Kingdom. It's a privilege to be here in Hungary. It's not my first time in Hungary or Budapest. I know Peter and the team for many, many years because I used to be the AI and analytics product manager for GE Vernova Prophecy Software. GE is also here at the conference. If you go to the demo room, you will see big GE Prophecy, GE Vernova. That is like a family for me, so I've worked with GE for a very long time. But middle of last year, I left GE and I looked around me and I realized, oh my goodness, the whole world has changed because of AI. And I think I decided to start a business, TruOptim Solutions, essentially. And in the last 6 months, I essentially created a product which I'm going to introduce to you now. And it's just, I must say, it's a privilege to be here. It's lovely to listen to actual, let's say, factory owners. Attila, I met you briefly, but it was fascinating. To be honest, I wish I could have understood Hungarian better, but I translated your slides a little bit. But to listen to actual factory owners adopting and learning and applying, and I really want to actually learn more about what you are doing and how you've done it. But also the data power presentation just now. I mean, consulting firms that are actively applying this. Because I can tell you this, that literally in the last year, I would say year or two, AI is reaching a sort of tipping point where we are crossing a lot of thresholds, where you are essentially now, even monthly, reaching certain key thresholds where, let's say, it's now more economic or better to write code with AI than with humans, for example. And those kind of thresholds are coming quick and fast. So we are really in an accelerated phase where, like the previous presenter just said, everybody has to engage to learn. Whatever you're doing, whether you are in HR, whether you are in sales, whether you own a factory, whether you are a plant manager, you have to learn how can you use AI in your job. So anyway, I am here to, as my presentation says, to tell you what I've done is started a company, and my mission is to help industrial businesses optimize productivity using AI. So we will talk about that for a moment. So if you go and you Google what is the average efficiency of a manufacturing or industrial plant globally, just the average, you will find something around 65%. Now just think about that for a moment. It means people, let's say like Attila here, I'm using you as example, if you don't mind, but people have built factories, they invest in manufacturing plants, and some people may spend $1 billion to build a plant, but those assets are running at 65% efficiency. Just think about that. That means there's an unlocked latent potential of, I wouldn't claim all of the rest of 35% you can unlock with just optimization, but unlocking productivity by just how you operate your plant, just how you run your operations. And, so there's a large latent potential. And I mean, I don't have to repeat it, but we've seen from the previous presenter that a lot of traditional AI projects are just failing at the moment. It's, the traditional way was, look, you have to, let's say, do a huge IT project. Your data has to be perfect. Then you need to take your data out to a huge cloud data lake and have teams of data scientists and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. And maybe at the end, you can do AI. But the truth is, in factories today, the data is still trapped in siloed systems. And, we are still making human decisions based on data that's late or bad quality or not structured. And so, but also, we have lots of experienced people who are maybe retiring in 5 years. And then, what are we going to do about their experience? How do we utilize their experience? So, also, there is in industry, I would argue, a knowledge crisis, meaning like our most experienced people in industry. The other day, I was speaking to a customer in mining, and they are running a mining plant, and we are talking about the productivity or the efficiency of their PID control loops, the loops that in the PLCs that control the plant. And the customer was saying, you know, our loops are running well, and now we have this amazing operators. They are 20 years at the plant. They know everything about the plant, but you know, I'm worried because they're actually retiring in a year or two. And so I think we have this challenge that our key people, how do we capture that experience? So what if all of your employees, if you run a factory, everyone in your factory could immediately have an expert advisor that understands all your business processes and your data and have all the experience right there to assist them? What would that mean for operators? It may mean that operators resolve issues faster and be able to immediately identify root causes from data. Engineers may be able to solve problems and without having to wait for a consultant to help them. Plant managers may have visibility to their data from anywhere at any time on any machine, and be able to ask questions like, hey, where do I focus my attention best to get the best gains for my organization? It may mean that new people, when you hire new people, that they are productive in days and it doesn't take them years to learn your operations. And that when people retire, decades of expertise, you don't lose that. So I have, TruOptim Solutions, we have created a product called the TruOptim Industrial Gateway. And if any of you are interested, you can go to my website. You'll see it there. You can talk to me tonight if you want. But essentially, the whole premise is that traditional AI approaches, it takes a long time to implement huge IT projects. That's really expensive. That requires lots of data scientists. In fact, often these approaches traditionally lock you into vendors' ecosystems, right? Let's say, they want you to upload all your data. You are kind of locked into their AI models, their cloud systems. Your data needs to leave your organization, so it's SaaS, so you have to hand over your most precious, often possession, which is your data. And it's like big IT projects. What we are changing in TruOptim with the Industrial AI Gateway is really to say where if you are a factory owner, if you have a manufacturing plant, if you have industrial assets, that you can have industrial AI in a plug-and-play fashion in minutes to make it simple for people to do. So essentially with TruOptim, you can literally deploy in minutes. You can have your first valuable interactions with best AI models in the world within an hour. The way we monetize is typically in industrial spaces, you will find long-term contracts. But, in the way app on your phone, we monetize this with a simple subscription, fixed monthly subscription, where you can cancel any time. All customers get a 30 days free trial. So it's really very little risk to experiment, to adopt it. We've designed security by design. You don't need the expertise of data scientists because, for example, I don't know, just give me a sense. Let me ask you this question. Who of you, let's do a quick poll. Who of you use AI daily, personally, in your personal lives? Okay, so who prefers ChatGPT? Okay, we have 2 ChatGPT fans. Who prefers Gemini? Oh, yeah, okay, Gemini is leading. Who prefers Claude? Oh, don't really have any Claude fans. But anyway, so we are already starting to adopt these frontier models. At the moment, they are really just, it's like betting on a horse in a race. You don't know. There's really just 4 or 5 frontier labs, OpenAI, ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Google Gemini, Anthropic Claude, and let's say XAI with Elon, with Grok in the mix, and maybe Microsoft is trying to keep up. But the point is, there are a few of these frontier models, and we don't know really who's going to, let's say, win this AI race, so to speak. For example, but they're taking different approaches. OpenAI has gone for, the consumers, us, everyday people, and that was their aim. Where we are seeing that Claude is focused on the industrial enterprise space or the enterprise space, and currently they are leading in that space. But anyway, the point being that just as you talk to those in quite conversational way today, so why not if you are a factory owner, enable your people to be able to talk to your machines, talk to your data, talk to your factory, and ask just simple questions of what's wrong and how can you do that. And that is what we are delivering in TruOptim with the Industrial AI Gateway. So how does that work? Essentially, the TruOptim Gateway is an application in the Microsoft Azure Marketplace, which any customer can essentially just subscribe to. The gateway then deploys in the customer's own Azure tenant, and essentially then from there, the customer can connect their machines or their plants locally. And the way that is done is you just download for every machine or every plant or factory location, you download a Edge gateway, which you run on a Edge PC device. For example, it may be a Moxa device, it may be Opto22. We have various hardware vendors here, but on a device that supports Linux, that can run a Docker container. And essentially, in that way, it makes then a very secure connection of your machine data to the cloud gateway, which is also as a customer, in your Azure marketplace. On the Edge gateway, there's an Edge Analytics engine where we have more than 50 industrial algorithms that can run continuously independent of the cloud to, for example, monitor the health of your machines, the health of PID control loops, what's happening in the process. We heard already, I think, today about vibration analysis, for example, from another presenter. FFTs, all of those algorithms are part of that. So essentially, you can run continuous monitoring on the Edge gateway, but then you can then securely connect one or any AI of your choice, whether it's Claude, whether it's ChatGPT, whether it's Databricks, for example, the previous presenter here, can connect securely to the gateway, the TruOptim gateway, and in that way get access to your actual data. And what the gateway does is it manages access control, security, and it provides that contextual layer. I mean, just the previous presenter made a really important, if you think about that pyramid that the previous presenter showed, where he said what everybody needs is a data foundation, a contextual layer. So essentially, my gateway provides a semantic asset model that defines your plant and your assets, that provides that contextual layer. And then the AI platforms can connect to that. You can have one or any of and all of your favorite AI agents that through the gateway securely can monitor, analyze, and even control your machine, switch things on or off. If that's something you want to do, it can also just by default be read-only. But also your people can have essentially an expert advisor that they can talk to. So just to give you a little bit of a quick sense here, and I'm going to need help from the back just to play the video. So what you're going to see now is essentially a wastewater plant. A wastewater plant, so essentially Claude here is connected through my gateway, the TruOptim Industrial Gateway, to a wastewater plant. And I have asked in the beginning, it's small for you to read, but I have asked, give me an overview of my wastewater plant. So it essentially read, it went down to the OPC servers on the plant, the industrial systems. It asked, hey, what's the latest data? And it identified, got all the latest readings and saw that there were 2 alarms, that the dissolved oxygen is too low and the ammonia removal is not good. So it's threatening that we may, let's say, violate our legal limits. And then I could ask, okay, so why is that happening? Can you go and identify the root causes? And it obviously reasons over the data. It can also query historical data and identify what it thinks are the root causes, that the dissolved oxygen control is unstable. And it also gives recommendations. But not only that, it can, just by asking, create visualizations for me, whether it's reports or reusable dashboards or presentations. Can you just play it again, if you don't mind, just one more time? Presentations, spreadsheets. So, this is, so imagine if you are the plant manager, you can say, I'm the plant manager, how is my plant doing today? Where should my team be focusing their attention? Or if you are the operator on the plant, you can say, hey, are there any active alarms? If there's an alarm, then why is this alarm happening? Can you help me find the root cause? And what should I do next? If you are the process engineer, you can ask, hey, why did we have this problem yesterday? Can you go and analyze that for me? So essentially what the gateway does is it gives you secure, structured access to your historical data of your factory, typically based on standards like OPC UA, which is essentially the way in which most PLCs or SCADA systems or control systems, even historians, the way they expose their data in a structured way, based on standards like OPC UA, etc. Yeah, so I would say just a year ago, 2 years ago, this was not possible, but it is now. And in fact, with Claude, and there's a concept called co-work where you can schedule tasks. So you can schedule workflows. You can say, every morning, 7 o'clock, please investigate the performance of my electric arc furnace yesterday using the gateway by analyzing the historical data and create a report for me as a manager, which is ready to be reviewed by my team when I go to my morning meeting every day, for example. And I have that running, demos of that running today. Okay, so what does that mean? It means that every person in your factory, whether you are the operator, whether you are the engineer, whether you are the manager, can have think of it as the world's best brains. I mean, think of it as super intelligence. To be honest with you, these frontier models today, they know chemistry, they know thermodynamics, they understand engineering. So if you securely connect them to the real data and you provide that context layer, in other words, what machines do I have? How are they connected to one another? What is controlling what? So for example, you can upload your P&ID, process instrumentation diagrams, your machine designs, your tag lists, and your process flow diagrams. And my gateway creates a plant semantic asset graph model, which essentially describes your whole plant. With that context and the real data, the AI can reason. And so it can actually answer most of your questions surprisingly accurately. So the operator can ask the questions that they care about. What are the real-time alerts? What should I do now? Why is this happening? The engineer, again, like I say, can do diagnostic studies and problem solving in minutes, which would have taken them, probably months. And the manager really can have visibility from everywhere and just a strategic guide on where should I be focusing my team's attention for maximum impact. So the TruOptim Gateway provides 3 key capabilities. First, an on-demand AI expert, so conversational AI to every person in your organization, connected to your data with your organization's context. And that's really key, like the previous presenter said. But secondly, it provides continuous edge analytics running on the edge gateway that can do continuous tasks. So continuously monitor the health and vibration of my pumps. Continuously monitor the health of my CNC or injection molding machines. Continuously, or maybe every hour, or, check if there are any active alarms. If there are, analyze the reasons why and escalate to someone if necessary. So the gateway provides an edge analytics engine that can continuously monitor and operate the plant independent of the cloud. So let's say the connection goes down, cloud goes down, then these are like a toolbox of algorithms that are industrial algorithms that doesn't need AI, but that's continuously doing. But what the AI then can do is, for example, I say to the AI, please choose the algorithms that you need to monitor my pumps. It will look through the toolbox and say, okay, these 4 algorithms I need to deploy to the edge gateway, and it will now start to continuously monitor the pumps. Okay, but the algorithms run. And then lastly, you can start to schedule and automate business workflows, essentially, which is the third capability. Like, hey, every morning, have a report ready for me about the previous day's performance. Okay, so, I think 4 reasons why the TruOptim Gateway is something that I felt I want to essentially do different, or really aim to make it accessible for industrial. Change the mindset. Previously it was, okay, it's very difficult to deploy industrial AI, and I have to have everything ready and perfect, and then maybe I can do AI. No. I provide unmatched time to value. The idea is that under an hour, you can enable all of your people with industry. You can deploy and enable this. Obviously, for industry, security is very important. So this thing is designed with security in mind, and your data remains in your organization. It never leaves your organization. So, it's your historian, your Azure tenant subscription that the gateway runs in, and it's your Claude subscription that you talk to. So the data moves in your organization. It's 100% built on open standards. That means the gateway helps you future-proof your business. Why? Because everybody's trying to lock you into their ecosystem of tools. But if you build on open standards, like on the industrial side, let's say OPC UA, it means you can tomorrow decide that I don't like my automation vendor. I'm going to change from Siemens to GE to, I'm going to use a different, let's say, industrial PC. But the interface is the same, OPC UA. So you can swap out because the way you talk to your systems is standardized. So my gateway just talk to industry with OPC UA, MQTT, and REST, so the industrial standard protocols. And on the AI side, there's a standard called MCP, Model Context Protocol. So to the AIs, my gateway is just the MCP server, which means that any and every agent, you can choose whether you use Claude, any agent will work for you. And the other thing is to make it really economically accessible for easy adoption is to have a very simple monthly subscription fixed with a free trial where people can test and try. And essentially, if you want it, you can scale the subscription up or down. You can stop anytime. So there's very little risk to experiment. Okay, so thank you so much for the opportunity. Essentially, if you are interested, find me, talk to me, go and have a look at my website, TruOptim.com. The gateway is live in the Microsoft Marketplace, so you'll find it there. You can literally just click to start a free trial if you want to. Or if you want a live demo, you can go to truoptim.com/demo and book 30 minutes with us, and we will show it to you personally. Thank you.